started at Netflix, then maybe a very interesting question. Now, as for the Snyderverse, if this were a couple of years ago when Zack Snyder first started at Netflix, then maybe you would have a point. But Zack Snyder burned Netflix so badly, particularly with the two Rebel Moon movies, that that's the whole reason that Dan Lin now is the head of a Netflix Film. They fired the previous head of Netflix Film because of his working relationship with Zack Snyder. New people came in at Netflix, watched Rebel Moon, and said, how much do we pay for this crap? And they fired the guy who made the deal with Zack Snyder for making that deal. So I'd be really shocked if they called Zack Snyder back up again and said, you want to make more expensive crap for us? I think that's the problem. So there's that issue.
Man, oh man, there's never been a better time to be a DC fan. So there's so much to talk about with James Gunn's DCU, the Netflix deal with Warner Brothers, and all that good stuff. So let's start with this one. Warner Brothers Insider reaffirms James Gunn will stay on as co-CEO of DC Studios post Netflix acquisition. This was talked about during the Business Bloomberg article where they go into depth about where their contracts will be with Peter Safran and James Gunn. James Gunn and Peter Safran on the Netflix acquisition of Warner Brothers. Safran confirms they're staying the course and not changing plans. Why would they? Everything that they touched so far has been successful with Superman, Peacemaker, and Creature Commandos, and with the upcoming Supergirl, which, by the way, Supergirl this Thursday will debut its first teaser trailer. Get ready for that. It's going to be awesome this Thursday. Gunn says theatrical is important and remarkably well suited to DC films. So there you go. The DC films will distribute theatrically, of course. Their contracts run until spring 2027 for now. In other words, when Man of Tomorrow is a big success, when Supergirl is a big success, they will be offered a brand new contract to stay even longer. Probably, maybe, I'm going to assume maybe a 4-year extension or a 5-year extension max. So that's going to be awesome. So again, the Snyder cults thinking, oh yeah, the Snyderverse is going to return and Zack Snyder is gonna reboot this Snyderverse. It's not happening. It was never going to happen. And if anyone makes a video or an article or TikTok saying that the Snyderverse will return, they are complete and utter morons. Grifting, obviously, because they know the Snyder Cult fan base are dumb as rocks. So, and I honestly feel bad for them. I honestly feel bad that the Snyder Cult are so dumb that they believe anything, that they truly believe that Netflix is gonna is gonna revitalize the Snyderverse, or that James Gunn is going to allow that to happen. You are out of your mind. At best, Zack Snyder better get on his hands and knees and beg James Gunn, like literally beg, like, hey, I want to do a DC film, because that's the only way. That's the only way Zack Snyder is gonna even touch a DC project again, if James Gunn allows it. That's basically what it is. What else we got here? Also, I find this very interesting. A new rumor from Grace Randolph, aka Bay Randolph, aka my little white snow bunny. An actor James Gunn has previously worked with quite a bit is now reportedly the frontrunner for Brainiac. I did a previous video where apparently Matt Smith was the frontrunner. So obviously, things are evolving, things are changing. The frontrunner for an actor who's worked with James Gunn a lot, obviously what comes to mind is Dave Bautista. I think that's one big possibility. I think Dave Bautista would make a very interesting and enticing Brainiac. I think that take on Brainiac with Dave Bautista would be fascinating to see what Dave Bautista can come up with. And the other actor, of course, would be, I cannot pronounce his brother's name, but he was on Peacemaker Season 1. He played basically Brainiac, the High Evolutionary in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. He talked about that role previously as well. So I could see him playing the role. I could see Dave Bautista. I can see Matt Smith. But the bottom line is, if any of these actors get the role, whether it's Matt Smith, whether it's Chudwick, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, or Dave Bautista, all three choices are rock solid. So I wouldn't be mad at any of them. So it all just depends on what James Gunn is going to do with that take of Brainiac, and I cannot wait to see what he has in store for us. And then one final take here is David Zaslav on James Gunn and Peter Safran running DC Studios post Netflix acquisition. Quote, "The work of James Gunn and Peter, their creative vision is compelling and a great economic return." There you go. There's no storytelling content that we have that provides a bigger palette than DC. And there's nobody around right now who can tell these stories with the same imagination and excitement. End quote. Once again, Peter Safran, James Gunn are not going anywhere. And I'm so happy about that. Unless the only way Peter Safran and James Gunn leave is if Supergirl, Lanterns, Man of Tomorrow, Brave in the Bold, if they all flop. If they all flop, that's the only way James Gunn and Peter Safran leave. But I have a feeling those projects are going to be super successful, and I cannot wait to see what's in store for the DCU moving forward. So that's going to be it. Make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Threads. I'm mostly on Threads. Follow me on Threads. That's where I do most of my new recent posts. Share the video, like the video. It helps immensely. And as always, truth out.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.